Hi everyone, it's Leanne O'Shea here from Leaders Being Leaders. It's great to be here with you all. Welcome to the Community Resource Centres community, wherever you are in this great state. Today we're going to be talking about time management. Now, we're going to be sharing a lot within the presentation in the next half an hour, but I want to remind you that you do have a very detailed manual that gives you lots of information about what we're going to be covering today. So if you just take one thing out of today's presentation, it means that you've benefited from all that we're going to be training and teaching you in regards to how to improve your time management. Now, you may recall in one of my first presentations, I shared with you the learning principle, 70-20-10. I want to share it with you again so you can get the most out of this training series. The 70-20-10 principle is that only 10% of your learnings come from workshops, seminars and broadcasts like this one. But 20% of your learning comes from talking about what you learn from those courses, presentations, broadcasts, or even reading a book. So I encourage you to go back into the workplace, your community and your family and talk about time management. We can all do with better time management, so start talking about it, different strategies, things that you can implement to get the most out of your day. But 70% of your learning comes from putting it into action, applying it into your life. Constantly repeating an action will bring you results. So it may be frustrating to start with, but I can guarantee you if you continue to implement it into your life, you will have more time, flexibility and that work-life balance that we all try to achieve, and that comes down to managing your time. So time management is an area in business and in life that we will always continue to improve on. We can always learn new strategies and techniques, so I encourage you to enjoy this series. Make sure you have access to your manual, make sure you apply the 70-20-10 principle, talk to your manager, your work colleagues, family and friends, and get the most from your training. So let's look at time management. So what is time management? You can see there that you can start adding to the list. Well, time management training most often begins with setting goals. So on the top of your list, if you want to write setting goals, this process results in a plan with a task list or calendar of activities. So it's also important in time management to have a task list, if you want to write that on your second point. And your third point is to use your calendar. This entire process is supported by a skill set that should include personal motivation, delegation skills, organisation tools and crisis management. So we're going to cover all this today in today's presentation, but at the moment you've probably only got 2 on your list. Can you add, you should have 3. You should have setting goals, task lists and calendar. The fourth one I want you to add, which is really important, personal motivation. The next one is delegation skills. Never be afraid to delegate, and we're going to talk about that further later on in the broadcast. The next one is organisational tools. Always looking for tools that can allow you to be more organised in your office space, your day-to-day task and also in your family environment. So that one was organisational tools. And the very last one to write down on your time management list is crisis management. And we're going to cover that off again a little bit later in the broadcast. So let me go through those points again for you in regards to what is time management, setting goals, task lists, using a calendar, personal motivation, delegation skills, organisational tools and crisis management. Now you can come back to that task later on and also refer back to your manual. So today in our broadcast we're going to be looking at overcoming procrastination, organising your workspace, delegate more efficiently, and also how to plan and prioritise. So I encourage you to reflect on this task after the presentation. There's a few questions that you can ask yourself after the presentation, and I ask you to be accountable for your time and how you use it. So make sure you come back to this and spend some time just reflecting on how you best utilise your time in your day. So goal setting. Goal setting can be used in every area of your life. Setting goal puts you ahead of the pack. Some people blame everything that goes wrong in their life on something or somebody. Successful people dedicate themselves towards taking responsibility for their lives, no matter what the unforeseen or uncontrollable events. Now we're going to take a look at SMARTY goals. Has anyone heard of the SMARTY goals? Let's go through them. The very first one is being specific. Success coach Jack Canfield states in his book, The Success Principles, that vague goals produce vague results. Did everyone get that? Vague goals produce vague results. So in order for you to achieve a goal, you must be very, very clear about what you want. Often creating a list of benefits that the accomplishment of your goal will bring to your life. Will you give your mind a compelling reason to pursue the goal? The next one is making sure you know how to measure the goal that you're setting for yourself. It's crucial for goal achievement that you're able to track your progress towards your goal. The next one is achievable. Setting big goals is great, but setting unrealistic goals will just demotivate you. A good goal is one that challenges you, but is not so unrealistic that you have virtually no chance of accomplishing it. Is the goal relevant? Before you even set goals, it's a good idea to sit down and define your core values and your life purpose, because it's these tools which ultimately decide how and what goals you choose for your life. Timed. Without setting deadlines for your goals, you have no real compelling reason or motivation to start working on them. By setting a deadline, your subconscious mind begins to work on that goal night and day to bring you closer to your achievement. And then, of course, why? Well, tell yourself, I want this because when I achieve it, I will feel this. So again, come back to that task in your manual, read lots more information about it, and be aware of how you're setting your goals, why you're setting your goals, and how you're going to make sure you achieve them. So let's move on to the 3 Ps. We've covered this in a previous broadcast, and we are going to discuss goal setting as a separate presentation in the next coming months. But in this workshop, we really do stress the importance of setting goals that are positive, personal, and possible. So prioritising your goals. Sorry, I've got to be the demonstration of what's possible. Achieving challenging goals requires a lot of mental energy. Instead of spreading yourself thin by focusing on several goals at once, invest your mental focus on one goal. The most important goal right now. When you are prioritising, choose a goal that will have the greatest impact on your life, compared to how long it will take to achieve it. A large part of goal setting is not just identifying what you want, but it's also identifying what you must give up in your life in order to achieve it. So most people are unwilling to make a conscious decision to give up the things in their life necessary to really achieve their goals. So like I shared with you before, really be the demonstration of what's possible. Time management is really about more than just managing our time, it's about managing ourselves in relation to time. It means being willing to experiment with different methods and ideas to enable you to find the best way to maximise the use of your time. As we change and grow, our goals should change too. When you reach the target date set out in your goal, look at what you have achieved. And again, here is a checklist to really help you out. What percentage of your goal did you achieve? Why did you achieve that percentage? And what would you do differently next time? And what is the next step? And what other goals may you need to change now? In addition, keep an eye on new trends and ideas around you. You might just find one that will change your life. Now, I've shared with you in another broadcast the 80-20 principle, and let me remind you again that 80% of your results come from 20% of your actions. Across the board, you will find that the 80-20 principle is pretty much right on with most things in your life. For most people, it really comes down to analysing what you're spending your time on. Are you and your team focusing on 20% of your activities to produce 80% of the results? Now, this one too, we've shared in previous broadcasts, but it's very important to use this matrix in time management, and I really do encourage you all to use it in a staff meeting and use it as a subject to discuss further to really be aware of how you're utilising your time in the day. If you refer to page 21 in your manual, there are tasks relating to this concept, and like I shared with you all, for you to gain the most benefits out of this matrix and the tasks on page 21 in your manual, do it in a staff meeting. So as a group and as a team, you can discuss and make some changes to get the results that you're looking for. Let's move on to the next slide, which is all about being assertive. It is actually very healthy to be assertive, and you are contributing to the team dynamics when you are being assertive. Being assertive does not mean that you have to be aggressive. So be honest, clarify. And I wanted to share with you some examples on how you can be assertive in a positive way. And here's some of the examples that I have for you. I am uncomfortable doing that because. Yes, I would love to help you by filling in this paperwork, but I don't have time this afternoon. I can assist you tomorrow morning. I can't right now because I have another project due by 5 p.m. this afternoon. So you can see by these examples that it's been shared in a positive way, but it's being assertive in regards to prioritising your time in regards to what you need to get done. Another one, I don't have time today, but I could schedule it in for tomorrow morning. I understand how you feel, but I will not or cannot. And then you can finish the sentence. So again, refer to your manual. If you find being assertive very difficult, it can be very empowering once you understand the art of being assertive. And remember, it's not coming from a place of negativity, and it's not to make anyone feel uncomfortable if you do it properly. Let's move on to planning. The hallmark of successful time management is being consistently productive each day. Having a daily plan and committing to it can help you stay focused on priorities for that particular day. The more planning that goes into time management planning, the more productive you'll be in the longer term. So are you planning your day? Do you discuss your day with your manager and your teammates? Now we're going to talk about journaling and how journaling can assist you with your time management. We recommend keeping a separate journal for work and a separate journal for your private life, so you can focus on them at separate times, thus maintaining your optimal work-life balance. Now, I often share the benefits of journaling with many people. They are very effective, and I encourage you to give it a go. It can make a huge difference to even debriefing at the end of the day, being aware of what goals you want to set for the next day, and just being able to break down your day and being aware of how you felt. So understand that journaling can have a huge benefit in the workplace, but also a huge benefit in your personal life. Personal development expert Brian Tracy believes that when you write down your plans for the next day, that your subconscious mind focuses on them throughout the night, and you will naturally achieve all that you want to the next day. This is something that I do every night. I literally tell myself what it is that I want to achieve for the day, and I celebrate the wins that I've achieved for this day, and then I know that I can just peacefully go to sleep, and the next day I'll wake up and know that I am in process of achieving all that I want to. It has been proven that if we do write an action list, that our subconscious will take care of it and we will achieve what we need to the next day. So let's move on to something I want to share with you, and I wonder if many of you have heard of it. It's called the glass jar, and it represents the time that we have in each day, and each item that goes into it represents an activity with a priority relative to its size. So the glass jar, well, this is a story that has been adapted from the Stephen Covey book, which is called First Things First. So it's a philosophy professor that stood before his class, and he put a big glass jar in front of them and he filled it with rocks. And he asked the students if that glass jar was full, and they all said yes. So the professor picked up a box of pebbles and went to fill the jar with pebbles, shook the jar, and the pebbles placed themselves around the rocks. Yep, he asked the students, was the glass full? And yes, their answer was, now the glass is full. He then went on to fill that glass with sand and poured it into the jar, and of course the sand filled up around everything. Did the professor ask the students if the jar was full? And again they responded with a yes. So the professor takes out a cup of water and he pours it right into the glass jar. The water easily falls into the jar, down between the rocks, the pebbles and the sand. Now it's full, he says. So now, explained the professor, I want you to recognise that this jar represents your life. The rocks are the most important things in your life. And what are the most important things to you in life? Are they your family, your partner, your children, your health? Things that everything else were lost and only they remained, your life would still be full. So the pebbles are the other things around you, your job, your house, your car. And the sand is everything else, all that small stuff. So if you put the sand into the jar first, he continued, there would be no room for the pebbles or the rocks. So do you understand that? That if we put the sand into the jar first, we wouldn't be able to put the pebbles or the rocks in there. So the same goes in your life. And just when you think you can't possibly find time to do anything more, you find a way. That's the water. So if you spend all your time and energy on all the small stuff, you'll never have room for all the most important things in your life, which is the big stuff, the rocks. So pay attention to the things that are critical to your happiness and play with your children. Take your partner out for dinner. There'll always be time for work, cleaning the house, doing the washing, or mowing the lawns. So take care of the rocks first. I really do love this analogy, and you may want to try it at home or with your work colleagues. Actually get all those ingredients and actually demonstrate it. So again, read more about the glass jar in your manual and understand how it really does relate to your life. So this is another strategy that can be used in time management. Large projects can sometimes be so overwhelming that it really is difficult to even plan to start them. I think we can relate to all that. So the time management technique is ideal for taking on these jobs. Simply break down the project into manageable chunks. Block off time to work on the project and then tackle them with focus and tackle them one thing at a time. So now we're just going to take a little bit of a break, and I do encourage you all to dial in with any questions before we move on to more information on time management. The number's 1800 678 208. We're just going to have a little bit of a break just so you can absorb some information that we have shared with you on time management and before we move on to the next. So if you've got any questions, I'd love to hear from you. Okay, it seems that you're all too shy to dial in. That's okay. We're going to have another break for dial-in time for any questions that you have. So if you can think of anything, write it down, and I will encourage you to dial in halfway through the next segment and also at the end of today's broadcast. So don't be shy. I'd love to connect with you. But let's move on, and we are going to talk about procrastination, and I'm sure we've all procrastinated many times. So we can eliminate that from our life. And again, it's wonderful to recognise when we do procrastinate to improve our time management. So why do we procrastinate? Procrastination means delaying a task or even several tasks that should be a priority. So the ability to overcome procrastination and tackle the important task is a hallmark of the most successful people out there. There are many reasons why we tend to procrastinate, and they include having no clear deadlines, inadequate resources available, don't know even where to begin, tasks really do feel overwhelming, no passion for even doing the work, fear of failure, even fear of success. So why do you procrastinate? Understanding your personal reasons will help you to create solutions that will work for you, solutions that will allow you to get on with the job and no longer procrastinate. So your ability to select the most important tasks at any given moment and then to start on the task and get it done both quickly and well will probably have the greatest impact on your success than any other quality or skill that you can develop. So if you nurture the habit of setting clear priorities and getting important tasks quickly finished, the majority of your time management issues will simply fade away. So on this slide, ways of getting moving onto those tough tasks. And again, you can read about them further in your manual. So has anyone heard of Eat That Frog? Well, I want to share with you again, Brian Tracy wrote a book called Eat That Frog, and he said, if the first thing you have to do each morning is to eat a live frog, guess what? You'll be able to go through the day with the satisfaction of knowing that it's probably going to be the worst thing that is going to happen to your day, and everything will get easier from there. So your frog is really the task that will give you the greatest impact of achieving your goals, and the task that you are most likely to procrastinate on starting on. So really, eating the frog is just another way of saying that if you have two important tasks before you, start with the biggest task, the hardest task and the most important task first. Discipline yourself to begin immediately and then persist until you have completed the task before you go on to something else. So finally, if you have to eat a live frog, it does not pay to sit and look at it for a very long time. Again, if you've got a very important job to do, it doesn't pay just to sit and look at it on the list of things to do. Get started, get it done, and get it out of the way. So organising your workspace is very important to achieve time management. In order to effectively manage your time and to be productive each day, you must create an appropriate environment by eliminating clutter, setting up an effective filing system, gathering essential tools, and managing your workspace. You'll be well on your way to creating an effective workspace. I really do value the importance of decluttering, and you certainly can work more efficiently when you work in a very cleared workspace. And even when you declutter your home, you'll find that you'll be a clear thinker and you'll be able to find so much more time in your day. So organising your workspace, we all have the same amount of time in one day. And I'm going to repeat that again because when you really think about it, it's so true. We all have the same amount of time in one day. So why can some people get more done than others? It really comes down to how we plan, prioritise and use our time that makes all the difference. So are you using your computer to the best advantage? Are you setting up your emails and managing them correctly? Do you use a diary? Do you have a task list? Are you keeping your workspace decluttered? There are many tools and techniques that you can use to really organise your day and keep it well planned. So it is about decluttering, and one of them is making sure that you have different areas for different files, and one of them is working files. These are materials that you use frequently and you need them close at hand. But then reference files can be stored somewhere else, and that's information needed that's only very occasionally. And then, as you're probably aware, archived files don't need access to, so they don't need to be within your workspace. So think about how you do your filing and think about what you need close at hand and what can be stored elsewhere to declutter your workspace. Mindset really is greatly affected by the clutter in your space, and I really do believe that, whether it is at work or at home. So let's move on to dealing with emails. And do you manage your emails correctly? We're going to discuss this in a few more slides, but I want you to start thinking about how you can best manage your emails. And one of the best things that I recommend to everyone is having a time slot in your day that you check emails. You're not constantly going to see your email inbox and checking it every 5 minutes. But how can you use your computer more efficiently? Let's look at that. In order to be the most productive that you can be, you must create the appropriate environment. So in the last 2 topics, we focused on creating an effective, productive physical workspace. And in this topic, we're going to focus on your virtual workspace, which is your computer. So to use your computer more efficiently, customise your working area as much as you can. So as you can see, you've got 4 ways that you can manage your computer more efficiently. And the first one I want you to write down there is organise your start menu. Again, organise your start menu. Write that down onto your list under number 1 and organise your start menu so that you can easily find applications you need. Number 2 is be organised and clutter free. Keep your virtual desktop like your real desktop, organised and clutter free. Number 3 is customise your toolbars. So customise your toolbars on your desktop and in applications to place frequently used commands at your fingertips. So have you written down number 3, customise your toolbars? And number 4 is create folders and subfolders. So create folders for each project and task, and then create subfolders as appropriate. Create shortcuts and bookmarks to easily revisit sites you regularly use. So using email time wisely. Emails can be a great time saver, but can also be a great time waster. So this module will give you some tools to manage your email time wisely. So some of the ways that you can utilise your best get the most out of your emails and manage your emails is emails are best handled in batches at regular scheduled times of the day. So you might set your time schedule to set emails when you first come in the morning, and then you won't go back until 11 a.m, 2 p.m, and then just on closing. So manage your emails in batches so you can be more productive with your time in between that. The next one is read it, file it, or delete it. So once you've read an email, organise it immediately. Does it need filing or does it need deleting? Many of these things you're probably aware of and heard of, but are you implementing them? Is your inbox full? How many emails do you currently have in your inbox? Either file them straight away or delete them. So the next one is reply to it and then file it. Delete it without taking any other actions. Forward it and then file it. Mark it for follow-up. I encourage you to speak to your manager if you feel that you do need training in Microsoft. It will make a huge difference to your workday. So if it's an area that you don't know much about, ask your manager to implement some Microsoft training so you can get the most out of your emails. And we'd all have to agree that handheld devices can be a time waster as well. So another major source of disruptions, ironically, can come from handheld devices. Cell phones, smartphones, Blackberries. Now you can be interrupted anywhere and any time. So to ensure that your handheld device is being best utilised, I've got some tips for you. And the very first one I want to ask you is, are you spending too much time on Facebook? And I really want you to be honest there. Are you picking up your phone every few seconds to check Facebook? Eliminate that from your day. Be responsible for your time within your workplace and manage how you're using your mobile phone. You can also turn it off, set notifications, give your number to essential people only, turn the volume down, and also to maybe even set it to vibrate rather than to ring. Let's look at delegating. So we all now look at the importance of delegation and to whom we should delegate and when we should delegate. So if you work on your own, there's only so much that you can get done, no matter how hard you work. And so this is why one of the most common ways to overcome this limitation is to delegate. So at first sight, delegation can feel like more of a hassle than it's really worth. And I do understand that, but once you start practicing the art of delegation, you'll see that it is freeing up your time. So by delegating effectively, you can hugely expand the amount of work that you can deliver. Delegation allows you to make the best use of your time and skills, and it helps other people in the team to grow and to reach their full potential in the organisation. So delegation really is a win-win situation for all involved if it is done correctly. So when you are delegating, be patient. Also, sometimes it will take a lot longer when you do delegate, but like I've shared with you earlier, it does increase the workplace efficiency and it really does develop people. So be patient, delegate often, and know that it's making a difference to the team. So again, I'd love to encourage you all to call in. If you do have any questions, please dial the number on your screen, which is 1800 678 208. Okay, we're back again, guys. Still no calls? Well, hopefully we're delivering valuable information on how you can improve your time management. And remember to make sure that you utilise your manual and read through it. So now I'm going to share something with you that is called What is a Ritual? Now I call it something different, but first I'm going to share with you that rituals and routines can actually help increase the spontaneity and fun in your life. So because routine tasks are already planned for, you have more energy to spend on the tasks that will bring you closer to your goals and bring more joy to your life. So we all want work-life balance, and we really do need to establish rituals to make sure that we can fit in our fitness time, or if you enjoy cooking or gardening, time with the children, and of course the importance of our workspace. What I call rituals is my DMO, which is a daily method of operation. I'm really strict with every allocated time in my day, and I actually allocate even sometimes just 5 minutes. And I have so many important tasks that are necessary in my day, whether it's for me personally, for my family or my business. And by setting up a DMO, I make myself responsible to achieve all of them. And when I've achieved all of them, I know that I'm achieving that balance. So a DMO is just being aware of how you're utilising your time and allocating each time slot to what's important for you. And if it means getting up earlier to be able to fit your most important things in, and maybe going to bed just a little bit later to be able to achieve all your tasks, I can guarantee you that you will be a lot prouder, a lot balanced and more present to what it is that you want to achieve for yourself, and you will be more productive. So set a routine, set rituals, or create a daily method of operation. Be organised with what it is that you want to create for yourself. So what is a routine? Well, for most people, the word routine typically conjures up an image that is really quite boring, or a repetitive life with every moment controlled and managed. And that's what my DMO might sound like to many of you. But with routines, you end up having more energy to spend on the tasks that will bring you closer to your goals. I know my DMO certainly allows me to enjoy my day and enjoy my life knowing that I'm getting the most from it. So 6 easy ways to simplify your life is a task that I want you to work on now. So with some creative thinking, you can reduce the number of items on your to-do list. And here are some top 6 suggestions. Have you got your pen and paper ready? Number 1, pay someone else to do it. Evaluate the time you spend on household chores and decide whether it's worth it to pay someone else to do it. A service near my home will wash, dry, sort and fold a load of laundry, and it's relatively inexpensive. I have a neighbour that has 8 children and she's only ever been a mum at home, and she's so grateful that I can contribute some money for herself, and she does a lot of work for me by just coming next door and doing some work for me at home, and I feel that I'm gaining so much from her, yet she feels that she's gaining so much from me. So paying someone else can do it can benefit many people. Number 2, use electronic banking. Get to know how you can utilise the gadgets that we now have in our life, from mobile phones to computers, to pay bills, do your banking, even online shopping. I'm a lover of Woolies online, and so there's another really good tip. Number 3, keeping everyone organised. Is everyone aware of your daily method operation? Does the family know what you're getting organised for the weekend? Communicate with the team and your family in regards what needs to get done. Plan your meals ahead of time is number 4. Number 5 is shortcuts. What shortcuts can you take to still achieve the results that you want? Instead of spending time in front of the television at night, what can you best be doing with your time? Saving a few seconds here or there certainly does add up in your day. Remember when I shared with you that everyone has the same amount of time in one day? It's how you're utilising it. So what shortcuts can you take to save a few minutes here and there that add up to a fair bit of time at the end of the day, which maybe allows you time for yourself? And number 6 is save the difference. Well, what does that mean? Is that, again, what I shared with you is that if you can find shortcuts to save up a few minutes, those few minutes are going to add up to a fair bit by the end of the day. So if you're really strict with your DMO, you'll be best utilising every minute of your day. So scheduled appointments. So referring back to the glass jar that I shared with you, if you don't fit the big rocks into the calendar first, then you can't fit the smaller task around them. So you're going to run out of time and miss deadlines. So again, go back to the glass jar analogy and understand the importance of scheduling appointments. So now we're going to move on to what to do when you feel like you're sinking. And we all go there, that we've got way too much on and we can't possibly achieve it all in one day, and we start to feel really overwhelmed. Well, here I've got 5 things that you can do to really eliminate that from your life. So no matter how well you plan and how organised you are, there will likely come a time when you feel like you just can't get your head above water. So when this does happen, follow these 5 easy steps to get it back under control. Simply take a big, deep breath. A big, deep breath will calm your mind and clear your mind before you begin again. Use a trigger to be present, and I'll share with you what I use as my trigger to be present. There's many triggers you can use. It could be having a shower, and that is your trigger to be present. Take a big deep breath and allow yourself just to stop, because we're always thinking of what next, what next, what next. Could be when you turn the kettle on in the morning. Mine is when I click in the seatbelt. I'm frantically running around thinking about what I need to do for the children next, what I need to do when I get home, what I need to do in my business. But as soon as I get into the car and that seatbelt clicks in, it reminds me to take a big deep breath and be present to that moment. And so I just acknowledge what's around me and talk to my children and just let everything go. Rather than staying in that overwhelmed mind state, it reminds me just to stop and breathe and be present. So give it a go. Again, these tools can have a huge impact on your life if you implement them and keep implementing them. So the next one is list outstanding tasks with due dates. Be accountable for what it is that you want to achieve, and if you have dates set, you will get them done. So create a plan and transfer these items into your tracking system, whether it's your daily method of operation, your diary, or your Microsoft calendar. Prioritise the 3 most important items for your day. Like the glass jar, get them done. And start to work on the most critical items first. So let's look at crisis management. I'm sure we've all been through it, and again, it's something we can always improve on. So with better planning, improved efficiency and increased productivity, the number of crises that you encounter will decline. So however, you can't plan for everything. So now we'll look at what you can do when a crisis does occur. The key to successfully handling a crisis is to move quickly, make decisions, but carefully. So I want to share with you our Leaders Being Leaders perspective. Again, is just stop, take a big deep breath, calm down. How much of the crisis is really a part of the big scheme of things? Is it actually an opportunity rather than a crisis? Again, I want to share that with you. Is the crisis really an opportunity to learn? Again, be present and just accept what it is. So how will you choose to respond to the crisis? Consciously responding rather than automatically reacting will help you to manage your time much more efficiently, and your responses will be much more effective. So when a storm does hit, consider what happened, what caused it, what's going to happen next, what events will this impact, and who needs to know about it. Now, many of you would go to regular meetings within the workspace, and meetings are a great way to manage your time. So meetings, sometimes you'll attend a meeting as a participant, and sometimes you'll attend a meeting as an observer. Meetings are a great way to be productive and to utilise your time. So I encourage you to implement professional development meeting and to utilise this training material that you have now available, and decide at your next meeting how to implement them. Have regular staff meetings and utilise that time to communicate with your team on how you can improve things in the workplace. So what are you going to discuss next at your next staff meeting? Is it the 1-minute manager, how to use Microsoft, time management, team development, or goal setting? Utilise the opportunity to have meetings with your team or even your family to improve things. So sometimes even a face-to-face meeting isn't the best solution. So, and here at Community Resource Centre, you have the opportunity to be more effective with your time. And right now, this broadcast is a great way of being more effective with your time. It's bringing together you all from across the state through this teleconferencing to deliver training to improve things in your workplace. So be sure to make use of these facilities. And I'm aware that you use teleconferencing in the community resource centres all the time. So that is time management, and you're effectively using your time. So how can you use that more within the community resource centre to connect with other managers and other trainees to understand what's working in other centres? It could be through email lists, or it could be through online groups. Now, you do have a traineeship private Facebook page. Start to use that to be really effective in learning and implementing and adapting new ideas into the workplace. And you also have the Leaders Being Leaders community as another way to effectively connect with people that are implementing change all the time and wanting to make a difference in their life. So let's look at our 6 top tips for time management to finish this broadcast. What do you think the 6 top tips are for time management? Surely it would have to be don't procrastinate. Move on to tasks immediately. So number 1 is don't procrastinate. The second is planning. It's always important to plan your day and your week ahead. Number 3 is setting goals. Do you set goals? Even small goals for your day will make you realise how important goal setting is, and then you'll move on to start setting bigger goals. So number 4 is declutter your workspace. And when you notice the difference from decluttering your workspace, move that into your home space. It really does make a clearer mind and a happier place to be in. Number 5, prioritise. That word that I got stuck on earlier. Prioritise your time. Prioritise the tasks that you need to get done in your day. And the last one, which is really important to the training here at Leaders Being Leaders, is be present. So number 1 is don't procrastinate. Number 2 is planning. Number 3 is set goals. Number 4 is declutter. Number 5 is prioritise. And number 6 is be present. On this next slide, I just thought I'd share with you some really great quotes that relate to time management. The first one is, time is free, but it's priceless. You can't own it, but you can use it. You can't keep it, but you can spend it. Once you've lost it, you can never get it back. Value the principles that are being taught here, because time management will make a huge difference in your life. So what's the next one? Take time to deliberate, but when the time for action arrives, stop thinking and go. Steve Jobs says, your time is limited, so don't waste living someone else's life. And the last one, you may delay, but time will not. So again, use the manuals, go back through the presentation and really start thinking about how you can improve your time management to get the most out of your day. So the training manual really does contain a number of tasks for you to work through and complete either on your own or with your team. I encourage you to do it with your team. So these tasks will really help you think about time management concepts, strategies and tools that you can implement into your day. I do want to recommend some readings for you, and there are many other recommendations in the manual, but we shared with you very quickly the analogy of Eat That Frog, where you can read the book, which was written by Brian Tracy. And the next book is The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And the other book that I want to recommend is The 4-Hour Work Week. A brilliant book, and I do recommend that if it's just one book that you came away from all these broadcasts, all of the books that we recommend you will get something from. So if time management is something that you desperately need to improve in your life, then go use the manual, use the training material provided here, and go to the library and start reading some of the books that we've recommended. Thanks everyone for being here today. It's great to connect with you all. Remember what I shared at the start of the broadcast. The principle of learning is the 70-20-10 principle. So 20% of your learning comes from talking about it. So start talking to your work colleagues, family members and friends about time management and tools that they use to get the most out of their day. But 70% of your learning comes from putting it into action. So if there's only one thing from today that you put into action, I applaud you, because that's going to make a huge difference. So thanks for being here. It's great to be here with you all, and I look forward to seeing you at the next broadcast. Enjoy your day.